Cross-examination of state witness Mthokozisi Thwala will continue this morning. Yesterday, the defense in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial tried to poke holes in what it believes are contradictory statements in his evidence. Now, 5 men are on trial for the murder of the soccer star back in 2014. Mnisi, as you know by now, is tracking that story. He joins us live in studio. It's great to see you. Thanks as always for coming in. So what are these contradictory statements?
So Mthokozisi Thwala essentially went through a number of, testimony throughout his evidence in chief. And some of the things that he said were put to the test, obviously, by the defense, who don't essentially believe in this theory of intruders. And one of them, you'll remember, is a description of what happened inside the house at the time when the alleged intruders entered the house. You'll remember he said that Thwala was the first to get up and exit the house. But in his statement, he seems to have suggested that Thwala tried to grab the firearm from the first intruder. So it was put to him how that was possible. At what point then did that happen? Because during evidence in chief, he obviously said Thwala stood up and exited the house, pushed essentially the first intruder. Another one was also on, the statement. You remember he was even able to give a description of the first intruder, the gun-wielding intruder, saying that he had dreadlocks, he had protruding cheeks and all of that. And in his statement, he seems to have made another statement where he basically says the first intruder who had a gun was wearing a hoodie, when in fact, in his evidence in chief, he said the person who had a gun was wearing a hat and not a hoodie. The person who was wearing a hoodie was the second intruder, who also had a knife-like object, a sharp object, which he then clarified to be a knife. Later, it was also put to him, the testimony of Colonel Steyn. You'll remember, we heard of an SMS that was sent by Thwala to a number saved as Thwala 2, where he said, Senzo is dead. They shot him in front of us. And for the defense, that suggests that when Senzo was shot, Longwe was in the house. But Thwala says, no, he had already left. So those are some of the things that were put to him to kind of clarify. But of course, we heard the judge even asking, around the contradictions and whether or not they are material. Asking quite a pertinent question there to say there may be contradictions, but are they really material? At the end of the day, when this court makes a judgment, will it really put weight on these contradictions that you asked the witness? Yeah.
Look, if you're making mistakes in minor details, what else are you making mistakes on insofar as your evidence is concerned? Linda, thanks very much indeed for coming on. Of course, the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial is an ongoing story we're tracking for you this morning on the AM Report.